A tourist unleashed his bulldog on a royal guard, thinking fear would break his stance. But as the guard's hand moved, the crowd gasped. His fearsome beast met its match. This is what happened, but before we continue, let us know in the comments below. Where you are watching, please subscribe to the channel because tomorrow, at the same time, we will bring you another remarkable performance by the Royal Guard that you will not want to miss. The morning sun bathed the historic grounds of Buckingham Palace in a warm golden light, as tourists from around the world gathered to witness the renowned changing of the Guard. Among them stood James Harrison, a seasoned royal guard in a scarlet tunic, his posture unflinching and dignified. For many in the crowd, especially those of an older generation, his presence evoked a sense of tradition, discipline, and national pride, a living symbol of heritage. Yet amidst the gentle hum of camera shutters and hushed commentary, something shifted. A stocky man with heavily tattooed arms made his way through the crowd, dragging behind him a muscular bulldog that growled low and steady. There was something unsettling in the way the man gripped the leash, not playful, but deliberate, even menacing. Families instinctively pulled their children closer. An elderly couple exchanged uneasy glances. In a moment, this peaceful scene, rooted in tradition, was under threat. The man, Marcus Reed, didn't just bring a dog into a public space. He brought a challenge to the values that Guard represented: order, dignity, and restraint. What unfolded next would test not only Harrison's military training, but the very meaning of authority in the face of reckless intimidation. As the morning wore on, the festive murmur of the palace crowd gave way to a growing unease. Marcus Reed, now fully in control of the moment, used his powerful bulldog, ironically named Cupcake, not as a companion, but as an instrument of intimidation. He taunted Guard James Harrison with cruel theatrics, tightening and releasing the leash just enough to make the dog lunge, all while jeering at the motionless figure in uniform. For many in the crowd, particularly those who had lived through times when uniforms commanded respect and ceremony was sacred, this behavior felt deeply unsettling. A group of school children clung to their teacher's coat, unsure whether they were still watching history or something far more dangerous. An elderly veteran stepped forward to speak up, but was silenced by Reed's snarling tone and the dog's aggressive growls. The bulldog's movements were not chaotic. They were directed, almost trained, a clear sign that Reed had weaponized the animal deliberately. Still, Harrison held his position with calm resolve. To some, his silence might have appeared passive, but for those who understood the weight of military discipline, it was the stillness of a soldier reading the battlefield, waiting, not out of fear, but preparation. With a snap that echoed like a thunderclap across the courtyard, Marcus Reed released the leash. Cupcake, the muscular bulldog, surged forward toward Guard Harrison with terrifying speed. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Mothers instinctively shielded their children. Veterans stiffened in alarm, and tourists backed away in fear. But what followed stunned everyone. Rather than flinch or defend himself with aggression, Harrison broke his ceremonial stillness with a movement so smooth and deliberate it defied expectation. In one fluid motion, he crouched and intercepted the charging bulldog midair, his white-gloved hands guiding the animal gently but firmly to the ground. There was no panic in his posture, only trained precision. Years of military service, including time spent handling combat dogs, had taught Harrison not just how to control such animals, but how to calm them. His voice, low and steady, reached Cupcake not as a command, but as reassurance, and remarkably, the snarling beast became docile under his touch. confused by this unexpected kindness. The crowd, moments earlier gripped by fear, now stood silent in awe. They had expected violence, but witnessed something far more powerful. Control without cruelty, strength tempered by compassion. Harrison had shown what true authority really looks like. Under the firm, yet gentle guidance of Guard Harrison, the snarling bulldog known as Cupcake underwent a transformation that few in the crowd would ever forget. What moments earlier had been a creature of tension and aggression incited by his owner's cruel commands, was now sitting calmly at the feet of the royal guard, tail wagging, eyes soft. Harrison's military background included experience with working dogs, and he used that knowledge not to overpower the animal, but to connect with it. His hands moved expertly, finding familiar pressure points and speaking a silent language only a properly trained dog would understand. It became clear that Cupcake wasn't naturally aggressive. He was confused, misused, and reacting to a handler who had replaced training with intimidation. As Harrison continued his calm reassurances, the dog's posture changed. No longer coiled and ready to strike, but relaxed and attentive. The crowd watched in quiet amazement as the once threatening bulldog performed basic obedience tasks with grace and clarity. This was no longer a display of danger, but of dignity restored. The moment offered a powerful lesson. Even when trained instincts are buried under abuse, patience and respect can still bring out the best in those who were meant to serve with loyalty. As the crowd looked on, what began as a moment of danger turned into a powerful lesson in the nature of true authority. They had watched Guard Harrison remain composed, unwavering, even as a threatening dog lunged toward him. But it wasn't brute force or loud commands that resolved the conflict. It was knowledge, discipline, and compassion. Many in the crowd, including seniors, veterans, and families with children, found themselves deeply moved. Some parents were seen quietly explaining to their children that the strength of the guard didn't lie in his weapon or uniform, but in his ability to remain calm and act with understanding. Harrison didn't fight aggression with more aggression. He responded with experience and respect, not just for the people around him, but for the animal as well. The message was clear. Real authority doesn't demand fear. It earns trust. The crowd's perspective shifted from seeing a ceremonial figure to recognizing the capable, compassionate soldier behind the scarlet uniform. In that moment, they weren't just witnessing an act of defense, but a reminder that tradition and humanity can and should coexist. The applause that followed was not just for his bravery, but for his wisdom in knowing how to use it. As police officers took the dog's owner into custody, the crowd that had once been filled with tension now stood in quiet reflection. The Royal Guard, James Harrison, had not only de-escalated a potentially dangerous situation, but had done so with a level of dignity and control that left a lasting impression. The British Bulldog, once used as a tool of intimidation, now sat calmly at Harrison's feet, responding to gentle hand signals and calm words. Proof that respect and understanding could tame even the most misused potential. Veterans in the audience nodded quietly, recognizing the blend of discipline and compassion that can only come from lived experience. Parents spoke softly to their children about what they had seen, not just a guard protecting a post, but a man restoring honor to a situation that had begun with cruelty. The message resonated deeply with older members of the crowd, many of whom had grown up in a time when authority was rooted in quiet strength, not threats. As animal protection officers led the dog away for proper care and retraining, the transformation was complete, not only in the animal, but in the hearts of those who witnessed the event. Harrison returned to his post, expression steady, posture precise, as though nothing had happened. But everyone who had watched knew something had changed. That day, the royal guard had reminded them all that true authority lies not in control through fear, but in the ability to respond to danger with calm, compassion, and deeply rooted training. In a world that often forgets the value of discipline and care, this moment served as a powerful reminder that strength, when guided by principle, can uplift rather than destroy. The incident at Buckingham Palace wasn't merely about a royal guard and an aggressive dog. It was about the deeper lessons that speak to all of us. In a world where intimidation is too often mistaken for strength, Guard James Harrison reminded us that real authority is quiet, composed, and compassionate. His ability to defuse a dangerous situation without force, while restoring dignity to both the animal and the setting, left a powerful message for everyone watching. For many seniors who grew up valuing integrity, respect, and self-restraint, this event resonated deeply. It served as a reminder that true strength lies not in dominance, but in the ability to guide, protect, and uplift others, be they people or animals. It also raised important questions. How are we treating the creatures in our care? Are we honoring their purpose or misusing their loyalty? As we reflect on this story, perhaps it's time we all recommit to being stewards of responsibility, not just with animals, but in how we handle power, emotion, and influence. Let this moment stand as a testament to the idea that kindness, when paired with discipline, can turn conflict into compassion and chaos into calm. What unfolded at Buckingham Palace that morning served as a vivid reminder that royal guards are far more than ceremonial figures. While their polished uniforms and stoic postures may evoke tradition and pageantry, beneath that disciplined stillness lies a wealth of training, real-world experience, and human compassion. Guard James Harrison's calm and calculated response to a volatile situation, subduing a dangerous dog without harm, was not the reaction of a passive figurehead. It was the response of a seasoned soldier, one who had once served in military veterinary units and knew how to read both threat and temperament with precision. For many older Canadians who understand the value of service and quiet strength, this moment reinforced why the Royal Guard remains such a respected symbol. These men and women stand not just for history, but for the enduring values of courage, control, and honor. They are trained professionals, often with combat or specialized experience, ready to act when the time calls. This powerful display reminded onlookers and viewers around the world that sometimes the greatest strength lies not in action alone, but in the discipline to wait, assess, and respond with purpose. That is what true service looks like, and it deserves our deepest respect. In a world where authority is often confused with domination, the actions of Guard James Harrison offer a much-needed reminder of what true authority really means. When faced with a man who used his dog to intimidate and provoke, Harrison didn't react with violence or fear. Instead, he responded with calm, precise control, demonstrating that real authority comes not from force, but from understanding, experience, and respect. The way he handled the aggressive bulldog, transforming it from a weapon into a docile companion, spoke volumes about the kind of leadership our world needs more of. For many Canadians, especially those who remember times when leadership was measured in quiet strength rather than loud aggression, this moment struck a chord. It challenges us to reflect on how we lead, how we teach, and how we treat others, including animals. Authority doesn't mean shouting the loudest or making others feel small. It means protecting those who can't protect themselves, standing firm without escalating, and using knowledge to disarm chaos. Harrison didn't just subdue a dog that day. He reminded all of us, young and old, that dignity, discipline, and true compassion are what give a uniform its meaning. As we age, we come to value the quiet strengths, patience, wisdom, and the ability to act with measured purpose. The story of Guard James Harrison reminds us that true authority is not about shouting louder or showing dominance. It's about leading with integrity, understanding, and compassion. In a world that often seems rushed and reactive, his calm handling of a dangerous situation stands as a powerful lesson. Firmness does not have to mean force, and respect is earned through consistent, dignified conduct. For older adults who have lived through generations of change, this moment speaks to a deeper truth. We've seen that discipline and empathy, when combined, can calm storms far more effectively than anger ever could. Just as Harrison brought out the better nature in a misused animal, so too can we, through kindness and clarity, bring out the best in those around us. Whether guiding a grandchild, supporting a neighbor, or simply offering a steady hand, our lived experiences give us the strength to lead by example. In the end, it's not our voices that need to be the loudest. It's our values that need to shine the brightest.